In the 1960s, a young man from rural Ohio sat in a cramped module 240,000 miles away from home. He wasn't there by accident. He was there because hundreds of men and women, engineers, mathematicians, geologists, and even artists had come together to make the impossible feel routine. Those people's names are not in history books, and their titles were not glamorous, but their work made civilization stretch a little farther across the sky. We remember the man who stepped on the moon, but we often forget what made him able to walk there. That's the nature of civilization. It's built by knowledge, quiet, durable, and often overlooked. Today, a different challenge stands before us. Machines are learning, algorithms are replacing, entire fields are changing, and many are wondering, what is still worth studying? In this episode, we'll explore the degrees that still matter in a world increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence, and why some of them are more vital now than ever before. You'll learn which fields feed the machines, which remain untouchable, and which are quietly building the next economy, not on Earth, but beyond it. Let's begin. Hello, I'm Gene with Eleonarda, and today we will be talking about the degrees that will still matter in a world that has been shaped by artificial intelligence. But before we can talk about what can't be replaced, we have to talk about what does the replacing. The machines of this age do not rise from steel alone. They begin as mathematics, crafted by minds that understand both code and consequence, computer science, electrical engineering, and applied mathematics. These are the languages spoken at the border between man and machine. Degrees in these fields do not simply prepare students to use artificial intelligence. They prepare them to shape it, and shaping it is no small thing. From self-driving cars to orbital navigation, the new economy does not run on oil. It runs on inference. Now, if you're finding this valuable already, then go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more people who still believe in thinking clearly about the future. Aerospace firms, space logistics networks, and defense contractors are hungry for these skills, not because they want you to train AI, but because they want you to guard it, teach it, and guide it. In the wrong hands, an algorithm is a hazard. In the right ones, it's propulsion. That is why the space economy increasingly leans on what once seemed mundane. A specialist in embedded systems may never launch into orbit, but their firmware will. A graduate in cybersecurity may never touch these stars, but their protocols will keep them safe. The takeaway, therefore, is this: the degrees that build the machines still have power, but it's a quiet power, earned and not marketed. And if you want to matter in a world run by artificial intelligence, then it helps to start by understanding the engine room. If the first set of degrees built the brain of the machine, then the second set keeps the body alive. In a world shaped by automation, we tend to forget that machines still break. They drift out of sync. They fail under pressure. And in those moments, it isn't theory that matters. It's systems, mechanical engineering, systems engineering, and operations management. These are the degrees that make sure the lights stay on and the satellites stay aligned. When a thermal sensor misfires on a spacecraft, someone has to know whether to fix it or to scrap the system. That someone is not an AI. It is a trained human with an operational mindset. In the new space economy, this matters more than ever. Launch vehicles, orbital stations, and interplanetary logistics depend on tight coordination across dozens of interlocking subsystems. The complexity is enormous and growing. A malfunction in one module can compromise an entire mission. It's not glamorous, but it is decisive. These roles demand rigor. They demand a mindset tuned to constraints, weight, power, cost, and time. In short, the sort of clarity that only comes from hands-on work, calculations under pressure, and trade-offs in motion. So while AI may help with the math, it does not replace the judgment. It doesn't know when to override a failsafe. It doesn't understand what a mistake costs when you're 250 miles above the Earth and moving at 17,000 miles per hour. These degrees matter because systems are the skeleton of civilization, and someone still has to know how to keep the bones from breaking. And then there are the fields that touch the unknown. AI can learn patterns and it can optimize, but it cannot wonder. That task still belongs to science, and to those who train in the disciplines that probe beyond what is already known. Physics, astronomy, planetary geology, and astrobiology are not degrees for passive observation. They're blueprints for asking dangerous questions. What are we standing on? What's out there? Could it harbor life? And could we bear to encounter it? The space economy depends on more than rockets and robots. It depends on data. Terabytes gathered from distant moons, from solar observatories, from the mineral traces of Martian soil. But raw data is inert. Without interpretation, it means nothing. And that's where these degrees shine. They don't exist to feed an algorithm. They exist to generate meaning from silence. Take planetary science. Without it, we don't know where to mine, where to land, or what to avoid. Take atmospheric chemistry. Without it, we don't know what to breathe, what to burn, or what to fear. Even in the realm of AI, these disciplines remain central. They do not fight the machines, they feed them. Train a model on the wrong assumptions, and it may seem intelligent while quietly veering off course, but build it on the shoulder of careful science, and it may become a tool worthy of the civilization it serves. So these degrees matter, not because they resist automation, but because they teach us what to automate next. They remind us that knowledge is not a closed loop. It is an arrow pointed outward. And as long as we're still asking new questions, someone has to be trained to hear the answers. And now we turn to the builders on the frontier, because every civilization has a frontier, and ours happens to be 100 kilometers in the sky. And behind every leap into that frontier is a builder, not a poet, not a pundit, a builder armed with blueprints, tolerances, and a hard deadline. Degrees in aerospace engineering, materials science, advanced manufacturing, and robotics are not optional for the space economy. They are the economy. If the systems engineers keep things running, these are the ones who give them something to run. AI might optimize a weld pattern, but it does not understand why the alloy cracked. It might simulate stress, but it does not know when the model breaks down. These disciplines are where knowledge hits metal, and where mistakes are measured in payload failure and mission loss. As launch frequency increases and orbital infrastructure scales, these builders become indispensable. Starship will not be colonizing anything without thousands of hours from thermal engineers and avionics specialists. Space stations will not be printing their own parts without polymer chemists and additive manufacturing experts pushing the limits. And yet, these degrees are often overlooked. They don't promise a desk job or a flashy startup, but they do offer something else: the chance to shape the physical reality of a new era. In a world where many jobs feel distant from consequence, these roles are concrete. They matter, not because a machine says so, but because the mission cannot continue without them. This is the backbone of the frontier, and for those willing to take up the wrench, the torch, and the code, there's work to be done. And so we end as we began, with a question. In every era, the world whispers the same question: what will matter tomorrow? There's no algorithm for that, and there's no certainty, but there are signs. The degrees that endure are the ones that tether knowledge to necessity. They don't chase trends. They build futures, sometimes quietly, sometimes from beneath the surface, and sometimes from orbit. As artificial intelligence rewrites the rules, these disciplines will hold their ground, not because they resist change, but because they carry the weight of what cannot be faked: judgment, materials, mission, and meaning. The space economy will not be built by abstraction. It will be built by minds trained in precision and hands accustomed to risk. And if you found this video useful, or if you believe that there is still value in thoughtful journalistic work, then we invite you to like and subscribe. If you found this video useful, or if you believe there's still value in thoughtful work, then we invite you to like and subscribe. It helps us reach others who are charting a course towards something larger than themselves. Because the frontier is still open, and the question pressing itself upon us is, who will shape it? Until next time, stay grounded and look up. With Eleonarda, I'm Gene Botkin. End transmission.